You will be eyewitness to the amazing operations which assure improved housing and a higher standard of living for the increasing thousands of families in a growing America.
This entire episode of the Handyman Diaries is dedicated to what I call the handyman's dilemma. And the deal with the handyman's dilemma is that it's a question of how much stuff do you carry with you? How many tools, how much materials, supplies, fasteners, wood, etc. Do you have everything for every job imaginable? Or do you have a smaller, more refined set of tools and supplies? All right, so back at that roofing job, I gotta just tell you first off that this was a really small roofing job. This was to re-roof and kind of, replace some subroofing on a small shed, like a micro roofing job, not even a tiny house, like a small shed. But the handyman dilemma kicked in pretty quick when it came time to cut some sheathing, and I was out at the trailer thinking to myself, dang, I still haven't picked up any collapsible, foldable, portable sawhorses. And I'm getting by. This is a little janky, but I'm getting by. I still make my cuts straight and get the job done, but do you carry sawhorses or do you not? That's kind of like one of the questions I've been wrestling with, but not the only one. I was faced with it again. Do I need a roofing nailer? Now, I've got all kinds of air nailers. I've got like my brad nailer and my finish nailer and my framing nailer and all that, but I do not have a roofing nailer. Roofing nailer is the one, if you're into air tools, that puts out these small roofing nails, usually in a coil. And here I was using my hammer. So I've got nothing against laying nails with a hammer. There's something kind of zen about it. It's kind of cool. You get 3 nails for every piece of roofing, and then you move on. But dang, if it wasn't time consuming. And dang, if it isn't like a little bit more, strenuous, dangerous, and all that to be up there so much longer, pounding away at the roof. So the handyman dilemma also has like this economic element. Is it going to pay for me to buy a roofing nailer? That's my question. I don't think it is. I don't do a whole lot of roofing jobs, but it did cross my mind. All right, the roof is a wrap except for 2 things. I've got to come back with some black goop for these last 2 ridge cap nails, maybe this 3rd one. And then I'm going to put some flashing on this front side. Just a little edge, it might not need it, but that capillary action of water can end up getting back under there. So I think flashing will be a good idea.
Every 9 minutes, a new home is completed and ready to leave the factory.
All right, next up, I've got a little Craigslist deal going on. I am meeting my buddy Joel at a house out in the country where a lady's giving away a safe, like a big old heavy safe. Now, I got in touch with Joel because he actually has experience moving safes. The guy's got like 2 or 3 safes. And so he knows what he's doing. I've moved stuff, but I don't think I've ever moved anything this heavy before. Anyway, the idea is to get it on the trailer and we'll see how it goes. So Joel and I met at the house where the safe had been actually kind of in a closet for just decades. And the first thing he did is he pulled out a porta power press. Now, I'd never seen one of these things.
It's just a hydraulic bottle jack on steroids. They couldn't afford stuff like Jaws of Life and stuff like that. So they would, instead of buying a big expensive ram that hooked to their gas powered hydraulics, they just get one of these.
Now, it's definitely not going to be like an everyday use kind of tool, but it seems to me like in a lot of situations it would come in handy, but kind of like that roofing nailer, it comes with a price tag. Sure, if I could afford every tool, I would get one right now, but I'm not exactly in that situation. That's pretty good. There we go. All right, here is another example of the handyman's dilemma embodied in these 3 lights. These are 3 lights I carry with me all the time, and I've been looking to downsize, but dang it if I don't love every one of them. This is my headlamp on the right. I use it all the time in tight spaces. You're in like an attic or a crawl space or working on an electrical box and you need your hands. It's kind of indispensable. I think if I need just one light, it's gonna be this one. I've also got like a LED flashlight Someone sent me this for free. It's like the Wotac. They sent it to me as like a sample. Wotac A5. This thing is a beast. You know, it's like a LED rechargeable big old light. It's got a couple different settings. Let's see, I think you hold it down. Yeah, you hold it down and it goes like turbo bright, like really, really bright. You can set it up like in the corner of a room or even in a dark backyard, and it's almost like having a flood lamp, you know, killer light, really bright, but you know, a little bit big. Okay, then this is one of my other favorites. I've got this little LED rechargeable. This one's awesome just because it's so dang small. I can keep it on my belt, keep it in my bag. Similarly, it has a couple different stages. You can bump it up to super bright. It doesn't last super long because it's small, but you know, it's another kind of cool light. Another feature of this one that's just so sweet is that it is magnetic. So I can set that guy up in like the bottom of an electrical box or on the top of an electrical box, and you know, it'll just hang out. All right, so the handyman dilemma with these lights. The next morning, I went out and found that the safe thing actually did happen the night before. And that safe was sitting on my trailer. It needed to be moved like first thing so I could get to work. All right, here is a look at the safe in the light of day. I didn't really even look at it last night. Pretty cool. It's got like a wood interior. And obviously we took the door off just because it wouldn't fit through the door without it. And it actually says, it's kind of cool. There's lettering here. I don't know if you can see this. Property of the, and it's completely like wiped out. Probably like First Federal Bank.
Components are simply building units, such as wall panels, gables, roof trusses, air conditioners, kitchen and bathroom units.
So I was just about to not get this on here because it's so dang heavy, and I realized that there are bearings on these hinges, so I've got to put some bearings in there before I drop this guy down. All right, next job. I have the distinct pleasure of pulling a toilet.
Any weekday morning, while the postman and the milkman are delivering the letters and the milk, you will see people going to work.
I did not get a bunch of footage of pulling the toilet, but it was just like you imagine, a little bit poopy, a little bit nasty, but good to get done. Weirdly, the next job was also a bathroom one, where I was installing safety rails, you know, kind of like grab rails in a couple of bathrooms, and drilling through tile. It kind of took forever, but finally came together. Trailer's looking pretty good. I got the toilet I pulled out this morning, sorted lumber, and trim. That's what I'm going to do next. Trim job. All right, so next up was that trim job, but I got there and the gal needed a coat rack hung up. She also needed a door fixed. So there were a few other jobs before the trim happened. So to do the trim job, I set up out front. Put my saw out front, and I don't know how you do it, but the way I trim things is piece by piece. It's kind of slow. I will measure one piece of trim, like exactly right, go outside, cut it, sometimes cut it a little long, bring it inside, fit it in place. If it doesn't fit, go back out, cut it a little bit shorter, sand it. Just kind of a slow process. This was a 15 by 15 room in this kind of like 1910, 1920 house. And the trim came together nicely, slowly. One more thing, if you haven't done a trim job like this, is to nail that trim to the wall, not the floor. That way when the floor expands and contracts, it won't bring the trim with it. All right, so on the way home, I picked up some ball bearings for the safe. And dang it if I couldn't find ball bearings in bulk and instead had to buy these stupid 2-packs for 49 cents a 2-pack. I totally fell for that. I'm sure there's a cheaper way to get ball bearings, but I ended up spending like $10 on the ball bearings for this safe. But I was just desperate to get this door on here. And desperate's really the word. I struggled kind of mindlessly with very messed up methods to get that door on there before I realized, oh yeah, why don't I just use the jack? I got the jack out, got that thing in place in just like a couple minutes, and ooh, it felt so good. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so I finally got the stolen safe back on the hinges. Ball bearings are in there, all greased up and nasty. Same thing down here. And it's actually moving really sweet. But next thing to do, simple task of figuring out the combination. Thinking we're gonna open this up and maybe crack it that way or something. But at least the door's on it. Okay, that's it for this episode of the Handyman Diaries. It's not really a how to do it kind of show, but just the story of how I did it. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll see you in the next episode.